Hi, this tutorial is brought to you by pm-prep35.com. We are a free PMP training website. Do visit pm-prep35.com for a lot of free resources in terms of mock exams, chapter tests and tutorials. In this session, I am going to cover create WBS process. This is part of project scope management knowledge area and it is one of the planning process. The WBS stands for work breakdown structure. So as the name goes, you're breaking down the work. The work is part of is specified. The work is the scope is specified in the scope statement. So that is nothing but your project scope. So you break down into more manageable components. So the WBS is a hierarchical structure. It's a visual representation. The scope statement is more of a document, but WBS is more of a hierarchical visual representation of how the project is going to be broken down. So you are subdividing the whole scope into more manageable components. So the lowest level of WBS is called the work package. So the work package is something which you can assign to a team or a resource or to a contractor, and you can have good control over it. So understandably, you shouldn't be breaking down your component into, you shouldn't the work package shouldn't be broken down so much that it would be tough to manage or control. If you break down a work package into a more detailed level, it becomes an activity. So that's where you would not have better control over it. So WBS, the structure of WBS looks like this. Normally in the top level would be the project name, then followed by the second level, which can be either the project phases or it can be deliverables. So from that deliverable you break it down into sub deliverables, and at the lowest level you will have the work package. Some of the parts of the WBS would not be broken down. This is because when you get to that particular phase, you'd get better details or a better view about what would be the components of that particular phase. So you would plan for that and do a breakdown at that point of time. So mostly the WBS has better breakdown for the current work periods. So if you are doing something the next 1 or 2 weeks, you would have a better broken down structure in that particular phase or in that particular work period. So as you go down into that specific phase, you get better idea and you break it down in a better way. So that's where the progressive elaboration concept also comes into picture. So the WBS is created from the scope statement. The scope statement is nothing but it tells what is part of your particular project, and from there you create a hierarchical structure. So you decompose your deliverables to work package. It need not be deliverables. It can start from the project phases and then you break down to the deliverable level. But the whole point is about breaking down into something which is really comfortable or which can facilitate communication among all the stakeholders. When you say stakeholders, it can be the customer, sponsor, or even the team members. Normally the WBS is created in conjunction with the team so that you get a buy-in. When you say buy-in, it means that the team is a lot more comfortable doing the work because they are the ones who are involved in breaking down the project work. So they have a better understanding of the project. They also know what they are supposed to do. They're a lot more comfortable doing the work. So your deliverables are broken down to work packages. It need not be deliverables, it can be project phases also. So from the project phases you break down to the deliverables, and deliverable you make it sub deliverables and components, and at the lowest level you have work packages which you can comfortably achieve, can comfortably allocate it to your team or a contractor and get things done. When you break down even more from the work package level, it becomes an activity. So that's where, although decomposition is used even to break down from work package to activity level, it's better to leave it at the work package level in terms of having better control over the work. So with that in mind, let's quickly walk through what could be the inputs, tools and techniques and outputs of this particular process. So the create WBS process is used to create the scope baseline. So after this process, the baseline, scope baseline is fixed. So the scope baseline is nothing but your scope statement, WBS and the WBS dictionary, these three things put together. The scope statement has the inclusions and exclusions. It tells what are the project deliverables, what are the acceptance criteria, what are the project boundaries. The WBS is a hierarchical representation which you normally sit with your team and you build it. You break down your scope into manageable parts with the help of your team, with different stakeholders, so that they know they are comfortable, or the customer is really comfortable looking at it, telling that when he is able to really understand all the scope of the project is covered. So that's where the WBS can help in finding out any gaps if the team has missed out, or if the management has missed out any of the requirements which is very vital, then that will show up in the WBS. So they can ask to include that in the WBS. So WBS dictionary is an additional document that comes with the WBS, wherein, because the WBS is a hierarchical structure where you can't write too much of information, whatever information you want to write is part of the WBS dictionary. The dictionary has more details about each of the code identifier you allocate to each of the WBS component. So it will have information about description of the particular item, the WBS item. It also will have other things like the milestone, or what kind of resources should be allocated for it, and things like that. So that's where the WBS dictionary comes into picture. Whatever you can't put in the WBS, you normally write all those descriptive information or attributes in the WBS dictionary. So with that in mind, let's quickly walk through the important points and the inputs, tools and techniques and outputs for this particular process. The process of breaking down the scope of work into more manageable work packages is handled in this process. So the work package is nothing but the lowest level in the WBS. So when you say the reporting requirements, or if you can break this down, if this is too abstract, and if you can break it down to so much level that it can be taken up by a team member and he can start implementing in terms of he can put down the activities that he has to do, then that is what a work package is all about. So although here the reporting requirements by itself might not be a work package, it might have reporting non-functional requirements, reporting functional requirements. So reporting functional requirements, if it's a separate document, it can be allocated to a separate team. So that's where you break it down and get to the lowest level in the hierarchy, which is your work package. So if you take this use cases can be built by a designer, so that can become a work package. So that's where it is really useful. If you break down use cases in terms of just writing about login use case, or if that is too much of breakdown in terms of you have to have same team members, people part of the same team have to tear the information and do it, then it becomes unmanageable. So that's where you have to break it down to such a level that it can be easily allocated and you can easily control manage how things are getting done. So WBS is work breakdown structure that splits the work into more manageable components to be allocated to different teams or team members depending on the size. The WBS is usually created in conjunction with the team to get team buy-in. It also builds confidence among different stakeholders, since work can be tracked easily, and also to ensure that work does not fall through gaps. So with that basis, the most important input for this is scope management plan, which has details about what would be the structure of WBS, what would be the format of WBS, how the work would be broken down, what is the plan for that, what tools would be used, what techniques would be used, how things would be tracked. So all that information which is relevant to this process is part of scope management plan. The scope management plan will have the plan for all the processes within the scope knowledge area. This is the case for all the plans for each and every knowledge area. They will have the process and the methodology for each of the process within their knowledge area. The scope statement has the details of in-scope work or the out-scope work. That's where the scope statement is a very important input in case of create WBS. And based on this, you create the WBS, which is a hierarchical representation of your scope, and also the scope WBS dictionary, which has additional information for the WBS. The scope baseline is nothing but scope statement, WBS and WBS dictionary. So scope statement is one of the important inputs. So scope statement is created as part of create WBS process. So the next input is requirement documentation. Requirement documentation has the requirement priority. Although we have collected a lot of requirements, you might have requirement priority in the requirement documentation, which must be kept in mind while you build the WBS, because the scope baseline includes the WBS scope statement and the WBS dictionary. While you build your WBS, there could be changes to your scope statement. So both of these processes, create WBS and define scope, or iterative, because the scope baseline as such is all these three things put together: scope statement, WBS and WBS dictionary. The creation of WBS and WBS dictionary is specifically part of create WBS process, but if you take the creation of scope statement, that is part of define scope process. But then until these three are freezed, the processes are not deemed finished. So that's where an iterative, a more tightly integrated iterative nature comes into the picture in case of dealing with define scope and create WBS processes involved. So the requirement documentation is the driving force. The requirement documentation has all the requirements. So while you build your WBS, there might be sometimes when you might miss some requirement, and it could have been missed even in the scope statement. Then a team member could find out, okay, this requirement has been missed and this has been stated by the client as high priority. So that's where it would be included in the WBS, and then it would be included in the scope statement also. So that's where the requirement documentation becomes a guiding force. So that's why requirement documentation is an important input, because the scope baseline involves scope statement, WBS and WBS dictionary, and if all these three things are freezed or in sync, only then the scope can be baseline. So the baseline is nothing but a number or an approved number given by somebody in the level of authority to approve, like for example the senior management or a sponsor or sometimes the customer, who says, okay, if I say that the scope baseline covers these things and he's happy with the boundaries that the project will cover, and you have covered everything that is needed for this current phase, then he gives a sign off. So that's where the baseline is very important. It's a number which is approved in nature, and you cannot change the requirements within it or the scope within it. So next important input is organizational process assets, which is used to gather any lessons learned in similar projects while building WBS or reusing the WBS that was created in the previous project. The enterprise environmental factors is an important input for this particular process, because the WBS format for certain industries are same. So sometimes that becomes a constraint. So because you have to use the same structure for better understanding of stakeholders. So that's where your enterprise environmental factors is an input for this process, but not for the define scope process, because the industry standards might guide or constrain this process to use that particular structure. So the requirement documentation, in other words, provides you the guiding force for different requirements which might help you to fill gaps. The scope statement is a very important input for create WBS, because the scope statement and WBS are created in an iterative manner, because both form part of the scope baseline. So until everything is in sync in terms of the scope baseline, in terms of the scope statement, WBS and WBS dictionary, you can have changes happening in each of these based on the requirement documentation. So that's why the scope statement and the requirement documentation as an input for this particular process. Obviously, the scope management plan, being a knowledge area plan, it will be an obvious input for all the process within this particular knowledge area. And the enterprise environmental factors are input mainly because there can be organization specific guidelines in terms of using a specific WBS structure. So the techniques used in this particular process is expert judgment, because from the way this process is built and the vitality of this process, you obviously have inputs coming from different quarters in terms of consultants being involved or customer being involved, or to understand what is the structure of the WBS, whether all the scope has been covered. Expert judgment is required, because in case of niche area projects, obviously there might be expert judgment, which is very vital, because this process helps you define the scope. So anywhere the triple constraints are involved and you have to baseline things, expert judgment is a very important input or a technique, in other words. So decomposition is important technique, wherein you break down your scope or the high level components in the WBS into more detailed level. So that's where you get to the work package level. You start from your project first level, then you get to the phase level, then you get to the deliverable level. Then the deliverable can be broken down into more manageable work, and at the lowest level you have the work package, which can be assigned to team, and you can easily control things based on your work package. So decomposition, expert judgment are important techniques for this particular process. Then you have the scope baseline as the main output. The scope baseline, as already discussed, is has the scope statement, WBS, and the WBS dictionary. The WBS dictionary has all the attributes for the different components in the WBS, which you can't write in the WBS structure as such. You move to an additional document where you can write everything about milestones, the desired resources that might be required, the characteristics of the resources, and whom you are planning to allocate. Any detail that you think is necessary to be explained for each component within the WBS is written in the WBS dictionary. Once the scope is baseline, any changes will go through a change control process. This is not for scope alone. Any baseline for that matter will go through the change control process. So change here means a change to the baseline. The word change here means change to the baseline, which has to be properly controlled in terms of going to a integrated change control board. The change control board reviews all the impacts and decides to take up the change. If it decides to take up change, it approves it, and then the documents are revisited, and there's a new baseline in place, and based on the new baseline the team starts the work and includes that as part of the deliverable or the end product. So scope baseline, once it is baseline, if you have to re-baseline, you have to go through the change control process. So as already discussed, the project document updates is an important output of this process, basically because when you're working on baselining the scope in terms of coming up with the WBS, you might have to refer your scope statement. If there is something missing based on your requirement documentation, you will have to include that in your WBS or the scope statement. But if it is in such a way that you have found out something while decomposing to the WBS level, you found out some requirement that has been left out in the requirement documentation, then you will have to revisit the requirement documentation, or for that matter any other documentation, and you have to make updates. So that's why project documents updates is a very important output. Anywhere there's a lot of iteration and revisits, obviously that will result in update to not only the other plans but also to the project document updates will be done. So these are the important outputs: the scope baseline, then you come up with the project document updates. In a gist, when you look at the create WBS process, the create WBS process deals with decomposing the project work into more manageable components and getting to the work package level. The work package is the lowest level in the WBS. The WBS is a hierarchical structure to visually depict the scope of the project work. It helps you to have better control over the project. It is a means of communication, easy communication between among different stakeholders. It helps you get team buy-in. So the scope statement is important, and input scope baseline consists of your scope statement, WBS and WBS dictionary. Because the WBS is built based on the scope statement, or both are tightly integrated, you obviously need the requirement documentation to refer to. So until the scope is baseline, you will have to refer the requirement documentation. So this is the outline about this particular process. Do visit pm-prep35.com to access a lot of other tutorials and mock exams. Thank you.